The anticipated ruling by the Georgia judge regarding the disqualification of Fani Willis is the subject of current attention, and here's what we currently know. Greetings, everyone. Today, we will be addressing a significant matter in our video. Specifically, we will be focusing on the impending ruling by a Georgia judge regarding the potential disqualification of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and her office from the election interference case involving former President Trump. This disqualification stems from Willis's romantic involvement with a subordinate. In the event that Willis is indeed disqualified, the Prosecuting Attorney's Council of Georgia may be entrusted with the case and may appoint another district attorney's office to handle the prosecution. It is important to note that any potential delay in the proceedings could be further prolonged by an appeal from the district attorney's office contesting the judge's decision. While a trial date for Trump's case in Georgia has yet to be determined, prosecutors have proposed a start date of August 5th. Without any further delay, let us now proceed with our discussion. In the upcoming week, a judge in Georgia will make a crucial decision regarding the potential removal of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, D., and her office from the election interference case involving former President Trump. The judge's decision is based on the fact that Willis is involved in a romantic relationship with a subordinate. In the event that evidence demonstrates an actual conflict of interest or the appearance of one, Judge Scott McAfee has stated that the association between Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade may lead to their disqualification. The judge's decision holds significant weight as it has the potential to greatly impact the historic prosecution, ranging from intensifying the existing scrutiny of Willis to introducing an element of uncertainty to the case. Before the judge makes a ruling, it is important to understand the current state of Trump's Georgia election interference case. The case took an unexpected turn when Michael Roman, a Trump 2020 campaign operative and defendant, filed a motion in January. In this motion, Roman accused Willis of financially benefiting from her relationship with Wade by going on extravagant vacations together. In intense hearings reminiscent of a gripping legal drama, both prosecutors were summoned to testify and defend their ethical standards. They acknowledged their connection, clarifying that it commenced in the early months of 2022, well after Wade had assumed the role of prosecuting Trump. In the event that Willis is disqualified, the responsibility of handling Trump's case would be transferred to the Prosecuting Attorney's Council of Georgia, a state entity. Despite this shift, the proceedings would still be overseen by a Fulton County judge and jury, with another district attorney's office from Georgia appointed to carry out the prosecution. According to Darrell Cohen, a former assistant district attorney in Fulton County, if he decides to eliminate her from the equation, it will not necessarily result in the case being dismissed. However, it will certainly complicate matters significantly. This is because it is highly probable that the Fulton County District Attorney's Office will no longer pursue the case, leaving only a handful of other district attorneys in Georgia who possess the necessary capabilities to handle it. According to Cohen, there are only a handful of counties in Georgia with the necessary resources to handle a case of this magnitude, and even among those, some district attorneys may be reluctant to pursue it. In his previous statement, the council's executive director, Pete Skandalakis, expressed his willingness to assess the proximity of the new prosecutor to Fulton County, suggesting that a neighboring county could potentially handle the extensive prosecution if Willis and her office are no longer involved. The case can be handled by the newly appointed prosecutors according to their own judgment, allowing them to modify charges or potentially dismiss the case entirely. The absence of a specific deadline for the council to appoint a new prosecuting office may result in potential delays. A year and a half has passed since the disqualification of Willis and her team from prosecuting Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones due to her participation as the main speaker at a fundraiser for one of his political rivals. However, the council has yet to reassign the case. The potential for a prolonged timeline exists if the district attorney's office decides to challenge McAfee's ruling. Skandalakis, in an interview with NBC News, stated that he would postpone the selection of a new prosecutor until the appeal process was concluded. Should McAfee determine that Willis is permitted to proceed with the prosecution, Kreis, a law professor at Georgia State University who has closely monitored the case, explains that McAfee could either grant the defense an immediate certificate to appeal or require them to wait until after a post-trial conviction to initiate the appeal. According to Melissa Redman, director of the University of Georgia's Prosecutorial Justice Program, the defense may petition the appellate court for discretionary review, although it is uncommon for such appeals to be granted. If the defense decides to pursue a review, they would need to submit their application within 10 days of McAfee's order, as explained by Redman. According to Cohen, choosing not to disqualify Willis would not absolve her of responsibility. He expressed the belief that regardless of her actions, she will face criticism and scrutiny. It seems that no matter which direction she chooses, there will always be people who believe she should have chosen the opposite. McAfee's ultimate decision on disqualifying Willis may depend on how he evaluates the available evidence. The prosecutors in Fulton County are urging the judge to carefully evaluate whether there was a genuine conflict of interest that arose from the relationship between Willis and Wade. On the other hand, the defense attorneys argue that the mere appearance of a conflict is sufficient grounds to remove them from the case. Kreis emphasized that the outcome of the situation heavily relies on the specific standard of disqualification that is applied. The defense has not been successful in providing evidence or illustrating that Fani Willis received a substantial kickback or any similar form of compensation from the prosecution. Therefore, if the requirement is to establish an actual conflict, they face a challenging task, he added. However, if the standard is to demonstrate the appearance of a conflict or impropriety, it is conceivable that the defense has sufficiently complicated matters. In the state's recent closing arguments, McAfee challenged the prosecutor's assertion that a tangible conflict must be demonstrated, pointing to various cases that he argued rely solely on the perception of impropriety. The judge's exchange suggests that they may be considering a more comprehensive approach to evaluating the evidence. While it is possible that Willis and her office will not be disqualified from the case, they, along with other witnesses who provided testimony during the hearings, could still be subject to additional sanctions. Despite Willis and Wade's assertion that their relationship began after Wade was hired, 2 witnesses for the defense testified that they had been romantically involved for several years prior to that. In the event that additional evidence emerges to corroborate the defense's testimony, Willis and Wade may potentially be subject to disciplinary measures by the State Bar of Georgia. Alternatively, there's a slim possibility of a criminal investigation into perjury, although Cohen expressed doubt about its likelihood. In addition, doubts were raised about the credibility of a defense witness during the trial. Terrence Bradley, who was previously Wade's law partner, alleged that the prosecutors had started dating prior to Wade's employment. However, when questioned on the witness stand, Bradley referred to his statement as mere speculation. Cohen pointed out that this testimony could potentially trigger an investigation by the State Bar, or even a criminal inquiry. Although a specific trial date for Trump's Georgia case has not been scheduled, prosecutors have suggested August 5th as a possible starting date. Appeals could potentially prolong the resolution of the case, regardless of the outcome. However, it is worth noting that the former president's ongoing legal issues may already guarantee delays. His federal election interference case in Washington, D.C. is currently on hold as he appeals the matter of presidential immunity. Additionally, it seems likely that his Florida federal case will experience delays, potentially impacting the timeline for the commencement of a trial in Georgia. Redman expressed his belief that the initial trial date set for August was overly optimistic, pointing out that there are still several pending motions that could be subject to appeal once they are ruled on by McAfee. He also mentioned that he would find it unlikely for the case to go to trial before the election. Over the past few weeks, both McAfee and Willis have faced challenges in their respective re-election campaigns amidst the ongoing saga of the Willis-Wade romance. The judge's decisions and the fate of the district attorney could potentially provide ammunition for their opponents, creating the chance that either of them may be removed from office prior to Trump's trial. During an interview with WSB Atlanta, McAfee emphasized that his ruling will not be influenced by his campaign in any way. McAfee confidently stated that regardless of any political influences or rumors surrounding his candidacy, the outcome of his campaign will remain unaffected, as he had already prepared a rough draft and an outline before hearing about any potential contenders. He emphasized that he is committed to abiding by the law to the best of his understanding and making decisions accordingly. To support our channel's growth and ensure broader awareness, kindly hit the like and subscribe buttons. This will help us reach more individuals and disseminate valuable information. Thank you in advance.